don't think we're gonna make it with these stats. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
Just too slow.
I think it's just more general talk this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be kind of general, whatever talk.
Nice, quick. Actually, will be a short podcast.
Yeah, I only have like 6 games marked down, and then we can talk about like Tampa Bay's doing all right and whatever. If we get. Oh, hey, I should go pull the chat.
You might hear the chat for a second. Sorry if you do.
That's okay. I'll try not to make much noise.
You don't have the echo.
Yeah. Thanks, Billy.
You might hear the chat.
You're awful.
There it is.
Make it stop.
I tried to pause it. Here we go.
Phil, I'm just going to let you moderate the chat just because it took too long for me to care. Cool. So, hey everybody, welcome to the USL Show. It's always fun doing these live because a lot of that stuff you don't hear and now you do. Like the 5 or so minutes before we actually go live, where I'm just rambling at people. And anyway, welcome to the USL Show. It's brought to you by Roughneck Scarves, which is your home for national team scarves, MLS, USL, all that good stuff, as well as scarves for your personal use, club use, or fundraisers. Check those guys out, roughneckscarves.com. Also brought to you and produced by the Beautiful Game Network of podcasts. Tons of shows. I will plug our good friend Hugh Roberts and Backyard Footy, partly because 1, I'm going to see him next week, and 2, he just announced what should be a really hilarious show with my soccer friends. He's going to have his former teammates James Chambers, Santi Moore, and Chris Nanko on. So that'll be chaos and a riot. So definitely check that one out when it comes out sometime next week. I'm your host, as always, the lovely Evan Villela. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I'm going to say it. So there you go. And joining me tonight, we have 2 of my soccer friends, as the Labor Day holiday has thrown a wrench into our plans. But regardless, we soldier on. The waviest man in the St. Louis metropolitan area and the cream in your Irish coffee. It's Phil Grooms. What's up, man?
What's up? I think you're lovely.
Thank you. I like to think I am too, but I also don't know if it's like ego stroking just to outright say that, So anyway, but thanks, man. You're pretty great too. You're pretty great too.
Oh, thanks, Val. You leave your typical self-deprecation. So
yeah, well, I wouldn't be from the Northeast if I didn't self-deprecate at every turn. So, but I mean, you knew that. You lived in New York for a while, and also joining us, if the USL had an Equestria, he would be our Rainbow Dash. He would also be leaving Netflix soon. Oh, and if he hates your team, it's probably 1, because he has the stats to back it up, and 2, because you're right. It's Pony. Hi, Pony.
You know it's good when your own intro makes you laugh and you can't even get it out straight.
You mean like when I introed it?
Yeah,
whatever.
Like dad jokes. I laugh sometimes before I even finish my own jokes.
That's good. That's when you know you've made it as an adult. Like they give you a certificate and things.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get a good dad joke in their pod.
Yeah. We're having one of these shows, guys. Ryan's not here, so that means we don't have great show notes. 2, things are going on, so we're gonna try to breeze through some of the big kind of storylines from this week, and then we're gonna split. So, that being said, I would be a very bad person if I asked Aaron Cranford in the USL D3 office about this and then didn't say anything about it. Your one piece of news: USL D3 is announcing another founding member of their league. And I'm going to say it, and then if I'm wrong tomorrow, I'll be wrong. But check our Twitter so we can super confirm it, because I was told that if we could wait until Tuesday, we'd have the date confirmed. But I said the problem about holding yourself to a date is that you can't do that. So a founding team probably announced on Thursday.
Did he
of
the 7th in that message?
What's that?
Did he say the 7th team or did he say the 9th team in that message?
I think it was the 7th. It's whatever number's next. Like it's just 1, so I think it's number 7.
Yeah, I thought we were up to 8 already. So
we might be. It's whatever the next team is, whatever number that is, and it's going to be hopefully on Thursday. There's a lot of, logistics involved in announcing a team. It's not just you show up and it happens. So hopefully Thursday, but check us out at the USL Show and the USL D3 Twitter account as well, just to confirm that date tomorrow. So, but yeah, no, that's super exciting news. I don't know where it's going to be, which I literally don't know where it's going to be. And if I did, I certainly wouldn't tell people and completely throw away all kind of good karma and standing I have with the league. But yeah, it should be a good one. I'm really excited to see what D3 brings next year.
Yeah, and apparently there are a lot more just ready to come in the following year. So yeah, I think
It's so exciting.
D3 is going to go crazy, and it should have a different name in the near future too. So I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah, that'll be neat.
Maybe even USL D2 will be a different name. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, we saw that at like the beginning of the season. They applied for a couple copyrights, but that doesn't mean a whole lot.
I like it though. If that's it, I'm happy.
Yeah, and then Memphis 901 came in, which is the other bit of news. I don't like that team name. For the same way I don't like Forward Madison as a potential team name. And it's just that, when you use numbers like that, it's hyper-local. And 901 is what, the area code for Memphis?
Yeah.
And I imagine Memphis has more than one area code.
Probably. But they did announce it on 9-1, so,
That was clever. I really like their logo. That's really good logo. It's pretty.
True.
It's
The neon's a little.
It's getting played in the USL, right?
Yeah, it's a little overdone right now, and I would have liked to see it in softer colors or maybe like a Grizzlies-esque color scheme. I think that'll look really pretty. But yeah, I mean, the team name is the only thing I have a problem with.
Yeah, logo is top third in the league easily.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But team name is iffy. I know Phil and I were saying it should have been Memphis Final.
Yes. It
That
would
would
have
been
good.
amazing.
I actually really like your Memphis 45s idea.
I don't think too many people are going to understand that. At least in Final, people get what it is.
Yeah, but I just think that's one of those things where I think you only have to hear that once before you get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost too hipster to go 45s.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, we're probably a really bad demo for that name because we're all hipster trash and we do a podcast about the league. So, of course, we're going to be like, they should have done this. That would have been cool. But it's like you got to appeal to the other not 3 people that don't live in Tennessee. So,
I mean, imagine if Orange County asks the USL show, like, what should we name our team?
the Fighting Conrads.
So bad.
The 90210.
Yeah. You guys should have just called yourselves One Tree Hill for the irony. Oh man, it is one of these shows. I like them though. So guys, there was some soccer played. There was actually a good bit of soccer played this week. And some things happened. And boy, had off with a confusing one. Your final score from Slugger Field: Toronto FC 2-4, Louisville City 1.
Montreal lives.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
What is with the weird MLS2 Canadian teams when, August and September roll around and suddenly decide to be really, really good?
Yeah.
This is where we would have liked to have handed all the applause to that guy that joined the club that was supposed to help their academy program, but he left.
John Hackworth?
Oh, not Hackworth. Perhaps they should be booing Hackworth a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, are you talking about Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto.
Oh, their coach that left halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember his name at all.
Yep.
But hey, that's all right. They had tell you what, Tsubasa Endo went off and in fact earned my chunk of the player of the week voting. So
Nice.
Man, he had a great night. Toronto's fourth goal pretty much sums up everything you need to know about this. In it, they passed it about 3 times in Louisville's 8-yard box and then scored. It was great. The shots are good too. Louisville 22, 6 on target.
That's what I was trying to pull up.
Yeah, Toronto 8, 5 on target. So once again, it's not about and possession 68-31 split for Louisville. Not about how much of the ball you see or how many shots you get. It's just about if they go in or not.
It's tough day for Louisville.
It is. It was. They'll be fine, right? It's just one of those weird that's a bit strange.
Yeah, they'll be the 2 seed probably. It's just that one really weird loss that every team has.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, I suppose congratulations are actually in order for FC Cincinnati, who, and I guess we'll talk about them here in a second, but they did manage to clinch a playoff spot.
They did it.
I mean, yeah, they've had a playoffs out locked down for months.
Well, I mean, now it's mathematically impossible for them to not make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I guess.
They could probably lose out and still be like the 4th seed right now.
It would honestly be. I think they could lose. I don't know. I'd love to see you or Ryan or someone do the math, but I just want to, or Ken Hodker. I would wonder what would happen if they lose out. What the lowest possible seed they can get is, because I don't even think it would be like 8. I think they'd end up somewhere like 4 or 5.
I would have them. Yeah, I'd have them tied for 3rd with Charleston and Pittsburgh if they lost out.
Wow,
that's funny. That's actually really terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to do that, but it's just crazy to me if they feasibly could just not.
Yeah,
and still make 3rd place in the conference. But
we mentioned a while back how like they need to do what they can to stay motivated, you know, and I guess MLS helps in trying to get a spot on that MLS team.
Trying to win the cup right now.
Well, I just mean like you got to win the cup and you got to win it by a lot. And you know, Ryan whips out those ELO ratings, and Cincinnati could be in the top 8, top 5 or better based on what happens. And like those are good stats. Like they should try to win that sort of kind of standing based on the team they've put together here. Historical.
Sort of walk through the playoffs is what you're saying.
They should, yes.
Yeah.
But it's just not like that in soccer. So we should expect that, but they should maybe aim for that perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends who they play too. Like I was saying on Twitter, if they like have to go through New York, Pittsburgh, and Louisville, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
I thought both of Indy's results this week, a weird draw against Pittsburgh and then a disappointing draw against Richmond, were unfortunate because, Pony, you said this when we were just off air. You were like, no one wants to take 5th place in the East.
Yeah. Everywhere. Nashville's playing bad. Indy's playing bad. Bethlehem isn't playing great. Ottawa's playing bad. Carolina's playing bad.
Well, Bethlehem, like you'd expect them to win, I think, every game they have remaining except for maybe Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay at this point. And for them to drop, 3 points at home against Penn FC when they scored early, it's not great.
Yeah, even then, Penn isn't bad. I mean,
no,
Carolina, Penn, Tampa, they're all in that same. They're not going to probably make playoffs, but hey, if they catch fire, they can sneak in and knock someone off.
Yeah. Yeah, but let's talk about this Indy 2, Pittsburgh 2 draw. Just because this might have been the worst officiated game I've seen in USL this year, and no, that's not an exaggeration. That's literally where I'm at. Which, if you follow the league a lot, you'll understand the weight of that. If you don't, there's been some really badly officiated games this year. I think the only thing that the USL really needs to talk about in the off-season meetings is to lock pro in a room and ask them how to do better. To be honest. A really weird one. Pittsburgh gets a goal at the beginning of stoppage time, and then I think Jack McInerney hits his brace towards the end of it. Indy gets one corner kick or something, there was 5 minutes at the end, so the 95th minute they get a corner kick, and then they set up another one at 96:32, and the ref just blows his whistle right before they take the corner. Martin Rennie, among others, not very happy that that's how the game ended. I don't blame them. I've never really seen a game end on a team waiting to take a corner kick. But this is the referee that did the Tampa Bay Charleston game last.
That's actually okay. It's not the exact same one. I forgot. There were 2 bad ref games this week. This wasn't the same one.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I said that wrong in pre-show.
Competitor to worst referee in USL. And boy, did he make his case. Phil, did you see any of this one?
Yeah, and you know what? I watched all of this go down in person, not in person. Sorry, I watched it on TV. But I'm trying to remember. The red card to me was the biggest problem in my opinion.
Ooh, yeah,
exactly.
So I don't remember what happened though.
Indy defender goes to play a 50, clears the ball like a 50-50, and then Dabo, I think it was Dabo, comes in with his foot high and kind of catches the Indy defender in the foot, as you see a fair bit in soccer, where it's just he mistimes it. And it's a foul, and I would be okay if it's a yellow card, but that's never a red card.
Yeah, that's
if he gets the guy in the kneecap, that's a red, but he gets him right in the foot. So I mean, it's not like he's gonna kill the guy.
Yeah, that's more no card than a red card. I mean,
yeah.
It's a yellow, but I would have agreed with not showing anything as opposed to showing a red on that one.
Yeah.
And again, that one, I've been saying that there's been a weird, there's never been consistently strong refereeing in the USL. But in the last few weeks, there's been a lot of games that go, that actually changed the direct outcome of the game.
Yes.
Whether it was a penalty kick, whether it was a red card, and then later on there's an equalizer or winner.
Yep.
And that's the problem. If that happens in the playoffs, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
Especially if it happens to a few of the big teams, or even for them. It could be it's either going to be just in the the first round, it's Cincinnati, New York, and there's a red card either way.
Yeah.
That's not a red card. It's going to be bad.
Even if it's debatable.
Right. It'll be
for a red.
Yeah, it'll be the league hates Cincinnati or the league's trying to give Cincinnati the victory. It'll be one of the two storylines, and that's all we will hear for the rest of the playoffs.
Yep. And we'll be a part of that, so it'll be great. We'll go, oh, well, should they actually be here? They got that gift red card, at home. Anyway, Phil, I thought another interesting result this week, Seattle drew St. Louis. Talk me through that one, man, because you guys are clinging on to that 8th seed.
No,
but not with these kind of results. You're not.
No, not at all. This was a huge disappointment for the team, and at first it's not the worst thing in the world, right? Sure. Because you're away, as long as you draw away, you're fine, right? You win at home, you draw away, you're going to be okay. And it didn't ruin our kind of setup of being unbeaten in 6 or 7 games at that point. So, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but that's one of those teams where, St. Louis went on a run, and then you draw Seattle and you start thinking, well, was it just a good run and they're done being good?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the worry. And I think the worry grows when you look at the rest of the week that we'll talk about later.
And it's crazy because Seattle drew Orange County too on Sunday. So, I mean, that's 2 good results against good teams for S2. And I think you see that kind of towards the end of the season where these teams where at the beginning of the year or the middle of the year, or even now you're going, all right, well, they're not going to make the playoffs, so that should be easy points for the other team. And then you go, oh, wait a minute, that's a draw, or oh, that's a loss. And, it's not so much that these teams like S2 aren't going to magically come in and make the playoffs now, right? I mean, looking at the table in the West, they're in 16th on 19 points. So, I mean, their chances of making it are not. But what I think a lot of these teams are doing, like Toronto FC2 and Seattle and, who's down there? Oklahoma and Fresno, even if they're not going to get in. Colorado Springs is another one. Richmond and are doing well, but they're going to make it as hard as possible for these teams to get points off of them, which is going to make it really hard for them to cling on to these playoff seeds.
Yeah. And you know what? We're kind of putting teams together because that leads me to the Timbers game a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
It was just weird because, we went to Portland and Portland's been a little bit strange that they had that run of really good play in the beginning of the year being super defensive. And then a lot of goals were happening on both sides. And I didn't know what to expect from them, but they kind of sat back and countered, and St. Louis owned on possession. They owned on shots. They kind of controlled the game for the most part. Looked like veterans versus a younger team, perhaps. But, they scored. St. Louis scored their goal, and then they let one up no one scored, sorry. And then they let one up in the very, very, very last few seconds of the game.
Yeah, what was it, 90+5 or something Portland got theirs?
And just like a heartbreaking match, and it happens, but it's just happened a lot with St. Louis. This whole you outplay the opponent, even early in the year against San Antonio. You outplay the opponent, you look better the whole game, and then one slip up, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's rough, and it's hard to see, especially when you couple that with a S2 tie, a Fresno loss away. It's looking a little scary, but mathematically, it's still a very good chance St. Louis stays in, right, Pony?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I've been saying, it's about 4 or 5 teams at the bottom there. You have kind of Swope, San Antonio, St. Louis, maybe Portland or Reno if they start falling off. Someone's going to get left out. I think the difference between number 9 and 10 is going to be big.
Yeah.
San Antonio finally won, so hopefully that's not a common occurrence.
See, and they're playing right now. Inside baseball right there.
Look at that. I mean, I meant to do that.
No, but that was a really good win. Speaking of, I mean, that was a good win for San Antonio. Early, and then they come back and get 3. That needs San Antonio in 9th, because I think that win against RGV, they can string into some positive results, I think, going forward. I mean, they have Phoenix on the 8th, which is good, but I mean, yeah, that game, if they can get anything out of that one, it's going to be interesting. The other one, Nashville had another weird week where they go, what was it, Tuesday? Tuesday they go slaughter Richmond 4-0 at home. They get goals from Tucker Hume twice, Bradley Bourgeois and Matt LaGrassa. So Hume gets a brace and Bourgeois and LaGrassa only score a bunch, right? That's good. That's the only thing they've needed all year is just goals. And then they go away to Charlotte and get shut out 1-0.
I know.
Yeah, it's not good. I remember looking at the.
I
remember looking at numbers. Nashville's the worst team at converting chances in the entire league right now.
That's incredible. And they're in 8th.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they could convert on even an average level, they'd be a dangerous side.
And I still wonder, is it a system thing or is it a player thing? It seems more like a system thing based on who's been in and out of there. But
I don't know. That's actually a great question. And I'd love to sit down and really try to break it down at the end of the year, just because right now I think it's unfair. But man, like the amount of talent that they've had in there, Meloto's there, Mensah's there, Allen they brought in halfway through the season to try to remedy things. And now, Tucker Hume is firing on a lot of cylinders. I'm not going to say all of them because he couldn't score against Charlotte. But I mean, I don't know if there's certain styles of teams that they play against that they don't generate chances in. Like if there's a certain system that they see and their offense just kind of dries up and it's because of what they're looking at or what's going on. Because I think blaming it on a single player at this point is missing the point almost.
Oh yeah.
So
I will say though that part of our loss to Portland, Michael Cox whiffed on 2 or 3.
Yes.
Now people say he's rusty because he sat for like 3 or 4 weeks without playing in the middle of the season. So maybe that's part of it. But boy, I mean, we easily could have won that game if it wasn't for finishing, among other things. But that's one of the big ones in that game. And he was a Nashville guy. So perhaps they've just had the wrong guys.
Oh, and before that, he was very good with Orlando City B. Like very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe he's got a little bit of, like you said, rustiness in terms of match sharpness, and then maybe a little bit of Nashville and switching over to Pulis' system. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I say, looking back for Charlotte in their previous 15 matches before their last one against Nashville, they had 1 win, and that was also against Nashville.
That's funny.
So yeah, the last 16 games, Charlotte has 2 wins, both against Nashville.
Oh man, that's not great.
That makes me want to buy into what you were saying a little bit, Evan. Is that maybe it's certain systems they
see? But wouldn't it be crazy if the certain system that got them was Charlotte?
No, I don't think so.
No, but like, look at how everyone else did against Charlotte this year.
I mean, look at Charlotte. Charlotte's beat Nashville twice, Ottawa twice, and Cincy once.
But like,
well, I don't know. Ottawa has somewhat of an organized defense.
Phil, right before this game, they lost to North Carolina 6-2.
Who are the best? How'd they do against Penn FC? That's the big question.
Hold on.
Because it sounds to me like they do well against organized defenses.
I mean,
you're talking Nashville or Charlotte?
Charlotte drew them 1-1, and then they play them again October 3rd.
So I don't know. I think it's
like
possible.
3-0 to Louisville, draw Pittsburgh, 3-0 to Bethlehem, draw Penn FC.
Will say. I'll just say that Jeffries makes them play out of the back no matter who or how they're playing. And that's how they do it. And perhaps just passing around and getting people out of position works better on defenses that are more organized.
Or against teams that don't let that happen in high press.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's hard. It's hard to be a possession team against a high press in the USL.
Yep.
Poking Nashville one more time.
Yeah, please.
How teams are now are going to make playoffs. They are the absolute worst offensive team and the second best defensive team.
You can do it.
Why couldn't you have said? Wait, you said the second best defensive team?
Yeah,
you
Pittsburgh's still better.
You love that, Tony.
Goes Pittsburgh, then Nashville.
Yeah, because if Nashville's offense was anywhere close to decent, sorry guys, sorry, Speedway.
They know.
I mean, they agree with me. So, like, if their finishing was I just felt bad for saying it that bluntly. But if their finishing was anywhere close to consistent, I guess not decent, because when they score, they can score. If they were consistent at all, they'd be top 4.
They are the worst converting team in the league.
Yeah,
the worst.
No, I heard you the first time. It's just it's such a gap between what's good and what's bad, and it's frustrating because if that bad was any better at all, almost they'd be great. It's
comic. I mean, Cincinnati's the best conversion team, and they convert twice as much. Like literally, their shot percentage result in goals is double that of Nashville.
That's probably last thing real quick is probably just as much saying something about the goals that they set up being super quality, not just the finishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's multiple things, but it's still comical to think that if they had the same
when you have that many very good playmakers on the field, and you have guys like Lasso who can pass out from the back and so on and so forth. I'm not like, I don't care that you score. I'm expecting you to score, but your goals need to be easy. You know, you need to be scoring Manchester City type tap-ins like 3 times a game. Where not only are you getting through the back line, you're also playing it back across goal and having someone just be there.
Like,
and they're doing it. So it's good. Speaking of doing it, Cincy 2, Pittsburgh 1.
I mean, finishing chances.
Yeah,
that's all this game is. I mean, I think
that?
stat-wise, Pittsburgh won on everything except goals.
Mm.
At least last, I mean, it could be stat correction, but last I saw, I think Pittsburgh had actually outshot them.
Well, and this is possession. They're continuing the trend of losing when they have the ball too much. I swear guys are doing this to them on purpose at this point. They have
like, let them have possession, but like, don't let them win.
Yeah, well, it seems to work. It's just really hard.
Yeah, Romeo Parks, a guy who shouldn't be in the league, scored in the 57th minute. Deco Kynan in the 80th, and then we found him. Fernando Adi in the 88th, making it 2-1. Hey, he's really strong. If anyone's not familiar.
Oh man, that goal, yeah,
he pretty well fell over and was like, "No, it's all right. I'm going to score."
No, when you think of Fernando Adi, that's the goal you think he's going to score.
I was actually just talking about Josef Martinez, Atlanta United's record-breaking MLS goal scorer. The thing that like you don't appreciate about some of these forwards in USL or just any league is how violent they are when they hit the ball.
It's
know what I mean? Like just absolutely rocket balls at goalkeepers. Almost like if you can stop this, that's really neat. You know, and then they celebrate like whatever. I'm like, you just hit that like 40 miles an hour from 8 yards away, like.
No, wait.
And then you're just like, yeah, I do that all the time.
Martinez celebrates angry. He's always angry when he scores.
He is. It's so good. I love how. Not to get on a tangent, I love how angry he is.
Yeah, it's the best.
Adi's the same way. Great goal. Really like his celebration for all the expletive we talk about him and if he's happy there. Going over to your coach and hugging him.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to shut us up.
That was cool. That was cool.
And I mean, you know, we've heard every week from Kev, whether it's on the show or in our group chats, but he's like, he's a professional and he's going to put in a shift. And he did, came in, made a cameo, scored a goal, got him 3 points, made Pittsburgh very unhappy.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I need to talk to the Mongols people about the main keeper still being out. I know he got knocked up with a head injury.
Yeah, someone fractured his cheekbone. I don't quite recall what happened on that one.
Because he got leveled in some game.
Yeah, it was Brendan Aronson who fractured. Well, not like he meant to do it, but he collided with Brendan Aronson's knee and fractured his cheekbone, and I think he's going to be out for another week or two.
It'll be good for Pittsburgh to get him back.
Yeah, they need
him. Even missing like a month now almost. He's still, I think, the number 3 leader for shutouts in the league.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and especially after the distribution from what's his name? Their keeper in the Indy game, I forget. He was a former Edmonton guy.
I forgot his name too.
Yes, Kirk. Thank you.
It was interesting to see a keeper,
but that first goal they gave up was bad. So yeah, they need Lind back. I mean, he settled down and he played a pretty good game after that. But I mean, that was rough.
Yeah, Kirk is fine, but Lind is top 3.
Lind is
you're moving from Lind is top tier. This Kirk is still serviceable, very USL strong average. I mean, maybe outside of Pittsburgh, you wouldn't be quite as good, but you can't complain. But
no.
It's moving down from top option to good option.
Right. I mean, he's a backup keeper. You're not expecting a team's backup goalkeeper to be as good as their main guy, right? So
it's just weird because it's a Lily goalkeeper finally looking bad, like for the first time ever.
I mean, he had one really bad error, but I honestly do think he settled down in that Indy game a good bit.
Yeah, he's not bad. It's just one of those where Pittsburgh is like at 90% strength if they don't have Lind.
There you go.
And playing top teams on the road, you need that 100%.
And being forced to have the ball.
Well,
Yeah.
Who wants to have the ball?
Yeah, that's weird. What is possession?
I mean, it's supposed to be 0-0 until the 85th minute, then get a cheap goal and end the game.
Yep.
What do we got next?
I was going to talk about Bethlehem losing to Penn FC, just only because it was a really poor performance, and I really hate how Bethlehem play down the Penn FC apparently every year. But then I realized that they didn't lose anything in the table, so it was, yeah.
This is the first time Penn FC has
ever right. So excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah, what am I talking about? In their 2 meetings, I feel like Bethlehem have really played down the Penn FC.
Lots of history.
Yeah, tons of history, let me tell you. That's a rivalry burgeoning, waiting to happen. You know what would be really cool? If Penn FC was formerly affiliated with the team that Bethlehem Steel is affiliated with now, and they tried to move them, and then they said no, and then they made a team. I don't know. It would have been crazy, right? Yeah, okay. Sorry, saltiness aside. Penn FC is a tricky team to play right now.
How so?
Well, they have 8 home games in a row coming up. like literally. They've only played 25 games. Let me see here. Their next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So they literally do not play on the road the entire season.
Yeah, the rest of their games are at home.
Wow.
Because they weren't able to use their field at the beginning of the season. Because that's what happens when you share a baseball field sometimes. So they're playing at home, which is tricky because teams don't like playing in that baseball field, Tampa Bay. And they can really do some damage to people. Like I said before, earlier on the show, it's not so much that they're going to, make a really hot run and make the playoffs, so that they could. But I think they're going to just try to make things as hard as possible for the teams that are in or around the playoffs right now in the East. And that's going to be a problem. You really can't take any of these games lightly. And I said, it would really suck if Bethlehem overlooked this game and looked towards Pittsburgh, who I know they really want to get a result against on the road. And, well, they did it, and they lost to Penn FC. So it could have been, a point or two there that you would have liked, but they didn't drop anything in the table, so it's not the end of the world. And, they'll still maybe make it in. They have some favorable matchups. They play Indy 11 again. So, yeah, we'll see.
What's with Bethlehem banging in distance goals all the time? Do you feel like they always do that?
They didn't in this one. Penn FC scored a howler or two, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. We just have guys that know how to hit it from deep. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. Let's see other news we got going on. Man, it's so weird that Tampa are going to miss the playoffs, isn't it?
It's very, very, very weird. I don't like it.
And they had a really good result against North Carolina, which is actually resulting in friend of the show, Dan from Unused Substitutes, getting a tattoo at some point. Thank you, Sebastian.
It starts with poutine, and eventually you get ink. So
yeah, luckily it's not going to be. Well, for him, luckily it's not going to be a tattoo of poutine. Although Mike Pendleton.
Oh, that's the next one.
That's if they like win USL Cup. He's got to grab one of those
on his butt cheek.
Yeah, man. So that was good. I don't know, guys. Is there anything else that kind of stuck out this week?
I mean, if we're going to talk refs, the Charleston Louisville game had another questionable call.
Yeah, I did.
Where I know a lot of the Charleston people saying that should have been a handball in the box at the very end there.
Which one?
And that was the game I was getting confused. That was the same ref that was the Tampa Cincinnati ref.
The Louisville handball, Charleston.
Yeah.
Second half. Yeah. And then
about 80th minute, but it was one of those.
Like one of those weird, like he goes for a slide tackle and it hits his hand, right?
It was just blocking it.
Oh, okay, great.
But it was one of those. I mean, at first glance, I thought it wasn't a card, but on slow motion, like, okay, yeah, that was a handball in the box.
Okay, so it's one of those like without.
And I'm sure the ref was scared after what he did last week to not want to start giving stuff out again.
Yeah,
especially to Charleston, who can make a case that they've been one of the more unlucky teams this year, regardless of where they're on the table right now. Yeah.
I will also say that I'd rather them undercall than overcall, and I've said that in the past. There was pretty much a penalty in the box with St. Louis against Portland, and everyone was pretty mad after. I mean, understandably so. But it was a no call, and I'll take that especially after talking about all these other problems. I'd rather it be a no call than a wrong call. So
yeah, I agree. No call is better than wrong call all the time.
Yeah. Like what happened?
Yeah. Kind of on the Twitter poll I put out during all this stuff going down. Let me search for that real quick if people could vamp.
Another weird one is Salt Lake City might be taking it easy a little bit. We'll talk about that in a sec. You have something, Pony?
Yes, I found it. With all the calls at how many points think USL refs have cost their team this season. After 62 votes, the leader is 6 or more points, with 42% of people thinking that. So almost half of all respondents think that they've been robbed of 6 points.
Did you get through that data yet?
Not all of it, but I mean, that's 42% say 6 or more, 21 say 4 or 5.
That's the thing you're actively like looking into, right? Is how many points teams have gotten from calls.
Yeah, 27 1 to 3 points and 10% have no points.
So I'm looking at kind of
I'm more looking at what refs do, like because refs are all different.
Sure.
Some refs call everything. Some refs are afraid to make a call.
All right.
Yeah.
And the guy who was the Cincinnati Tampa ref makes a lot of calls.
Phil, you said you think us Monarchs are pumping the brakes a little bit?
Yeah, I do. They lost.
Is that because they don't want to play San Antonio first round?
Maybe. I don't think so, actually.
No, they've been pretty.
Then why is the result what it is right now? They don't want to play San Antonio first round.
But no, they lost at home to San Antonio. They lost to OKC. It just feels like they're pumping the brakes just a little bit. So,
yeah, I mean,
well, they haven't lost at home yet.
Oh, you're right.
Antonio.
You can say they're currently losing at home, 37th.
Oh, sorry.
This would be kind of redundant when it comes out tomorrow. 37th minute right now, time of recording. 1-0 San Antonio FC after an early goal.
Yeah, I think that was already done. I forgot it's happening right now. So never mind.
No.
The amazing point is the last time Real Monarchs lost at home. I say the last time the Monarchs lost at home in the regular season was last year to San Antonio.
Oh,
wait.
They have actually not lost at home this season yet.
That's so crazy.
That's so good. That's like every team would love that, right? And like every team expects that, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna make this a fortress or whatever." And like they lose the first time in like April, but like Real Monarchs are just like, "Yeah, you're not gonna win here," and no one does except for San Antonio apparently. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're putting on the brakes so much, Phil, as that right now compared to the other team that's in top of their conference, since he's on like 60 points with like an 800 goal differential, and like Monarchs are actually having the fight for first place in the West right now. Yeah.
They got to keep
like Phoenix has 2 games in hand.
Got to look in the rear view here and there.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Phil, I think you guys, again, you can get a lot of help tonight. And then Reno's going to have to help you out a little bit, I think. But you guys can make it in.
I mean, St. Louis wants Real Monarchs to win tonight.
Yeah, actually, that would be better for St. Louis.
Yeah.
We have a chance. St. Louis has a chance. It's just
would that be that's a decent question. I mean, it's probably a better question to ask you, like when the season's over, when we can do exit interviews with everybody. But like, is that a disappointing season for you guys if you don't make the playoffs?
No.
Again? Okay.
I'm already happier. I'm like not sad
to be in the hunt at least.
Yeah, to be in the hunt,
Okay.
and honestly, more so the eye test of what the team looks like. All of a sudden, we can attack for the first time in our history, probably. Like that's great to see, and it's gonna get better when we finally keep mostly the same team next year.
Right on.
It's just gonna be a lot of firsts, and I'm really happy about that alone.
For sure.
And when you move back east.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh man, I think if you guys stayed in the East this year, you'd be right in.
Yeah, maybe.
I really do.
I don't know. Maybe
you would add more tape on everybody.
I think we could finish better than Nashville, and we're almost as good on defense, perhaps. So,
yeah, I mean the difference. I think East is tighter from like 5th to like 10th, but
5th to like 13th.
Yeah, basically.
So all the way down to Toronto FC2 right now. Pretty tight.
Yeah, Tulsa and Seattle aren't doing too hot either. But.
Well, yeah, no. Yeah. Guys, should we call it a night and I can get to do some plugs?
I think so.
Go for it.
Yeah, so if you want to follow us, actually no, let me I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate the YouTube one in. So I'm gonna try this. If you want to hang out with us live, you can. Every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can stay aware of that and make sure you get notified of it in 2 ways. The easiest one, go to youtube.com/the USL Show. And from there, you can just hit subscribe, or you can hit the little notification button, which is a bell. And then whenever we go live, which should be about once a week, every Monday at about 9 p.m. Eastern, it'll let you know. Or what you can do is you can just hang out and watch our Twitter. It'll come in through there. We'll tweet it out a couple minutes before we go live, or right about as we're going live. And you can hang out with us. The live chat's there. If you just want to have a more authentic day of experience and hear about us making fools of ourselves earlier, feel free to do it. If not, you can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher. The easiest way to get a hold of everything and to get it before it goes live elsewhere, definitely check out the USLshow.com, which is also where you can find links to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/the USL Show. Thanks to Steven Hernandez, who is our newest Patreon subscriber. Welcome. You have access to our show, Stick to Sports, which we did the first episode of. It was really good. We inadvertently found out that Kevin did a movie. We're going to talk about it sometime this month for our second episode of Stick to Sports. You might want to subscribe to that one. All it is, literally, we'll take a donation as little as $1 a month. It's $12 a year, guys. I know I don't want to be that guy with finances and things, but the way we set that up is that, I was only comfortable charging people for what I could feasibly pay. And I was like, $1, if you do that, you're amazing. Again, we don't want to paywall this or anything because I think that's BS to do. So we don't. So just an extra thing for you there, Stick to Sports. It's really good. Check out the first episode. Also, another really easy way to get in touch with us. DMs on Twitter are open. Also, the USL Show at gmail.com. I will check that periodically. And if you write us things, you have any questions, you want to know how to get better at watching soccer, you want to learn about BG Unwritten, you want to learn how to do podcasts, whatever. I don't really care. Just ask us questions. Hit us up, uslshow@gmail.com. We'll be friends. It'll be great. Elsewhere, if you want to follow me personally or anything like that, I am at SpeakEvanSpeak on the Twitters. I will be in Pittsburgh next week. I'll be hanging out with Mongols people. I'll be hanging out with Hugh Roberts. I'll be hanging out, just taking in the city. Should be a good time. If you want to follow Pony, you can do that at Iron Pony Chef. Tell him that you think he hates your team, whichever one it is, and he'll provide you with stats to prove why that's true. And then also, if you want to follow Phil, you can do that at Phil Grooms. It's with 2 L's and 2 O's. Or I think game days and things, you use STL Soccer Report yet, right?
Right. Yep.
Cool. So yeah, STL Soccer Report if you're looking to follow St. Louis FC on game days and things. Guys, is there anything else you want to plug? Phil, I know you're doing an interview with somebody that's coming out soon, right?
Yeah, and Pony's gonna have a show later too. That's why.
Right. Yeah. So Phil, you plug your interview, and then Pony will let you plug your thing, and that'll be cool.
Cool. Yeah. So I have an interview with Adam Bells from It's the Scuffed podcast that follows all the men's national team players and possible men's national team players abroad and at home, and he really covers the USL. It's like the first men's national team guy that covers USL.
That's really cool.
Does a great job. And so we do a deep nerd dive. It goes like an hour and a half on top of an interview with the Rochester Rhinos owners. So I'm going to say that Wednesday morning, and it'll be a long nerdy episode, but we'll do the interview first. And then the
talk about a couple of my friends, right? Well, not friends, but a couple of Union boys there.
Oh, yes, we do. Yeah. Not a ton. That's
all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
We have time. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm glad that I would like to very much thank Mr. Aaron Cranford again I think we literally, probably more eloquently, I don't know what you sent to him, Phil, but we went, hey, can we talk to someone from Rochester? And he went, yes. Here's who you should talk to.
And they replied, and I am still in awe that people talk to us so easily.
I am still baffled that we can go, hello, we would love to hear what you have to say about things. And people go, yeah, that's great, because that means that we're fair in my head. And that's wonderful. So I'm glad that we're okay with giving people a platform. And at the same time, I'll plug an interview I did with perhaps one of the nicest people in this league, bar none, and I don't care what anyone has to say. Bethlehem Steel left back Prosper Cholula. We talked about him growing up in Zambia and playing for Kafue Celtic, and Patrice Evra and Die Hard and Fast and Furious. It's a really good interview. It's a really breezy 30 minutes compared to Phil's deep dive hour and a half long one. And I just love doing those player profiles, man. They're really fun, especially ones that are in person, because it adds a whole nother dynamic. So I really liked it. A lot of people that I asked, who granted are my friends and people that I respect personally and professionally, really liked it. So that was great. But yeah, that was a good one. Check that one out. That was a part of our You Play We Don't series, which is kind of my baby, and I'm super happy that it is what it is. Anyway, Pony, what are you doing with a couple of our friends here later this week?
Yeah, speaking of nerdy podcasts, gonna go with
Ryan,
hey, so you know it's getting back.
Nerds. Who would have thought?
This is number nerdy because gonna get Ryan and Ken over in Cincinnati to talk about playoff projections, kind of using 3 different systems. I know you can see me put out my projections. Ken does his. Ryan has his ELO stats, and we're gonna compare what all of us say the playoffs should look like, and talk about strengths and weaknesses and all that sort of fun stuff of each method. If you like numbers, it might be a fun one. If not, at least let us see how good your team is. And then you might want to cut out after that.
Maybe like a couple days after, or even like the next day or something, you guys should just kind of tweet out where everyone landed and link the show.
Yeah, I try to do that at least. I try to do that usually about once a week for mine, but
yeah,
keeping it secret for tomorrow.
Don't want anyone to get into it.
Because otherwise no one will listen, okay?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, it'll be really great. It'll be an audio podcast. It's basically a bunch of 3 American white males talking about numbers in the same way that I feel like the Large Hadron Collider sounds when it blows things up. In that we're gonna jam a bunch of things that are really scientific and things together and just kind of see what happens when they collide. So that'll be exciting.
Sounds like a
Fibonacci sequence, derivatives, calculus, differential equations.
Yeah. It's like my failed line of clothing, the Fibonacci sequence. Or to make
a podcast. No,
yeah, that's
that joke ends it.
Or to make a joke that Carson Merkel will appreciate. Putting Pony and Ryan together is great, but if you add Ken, it's basically like the math nerd like mega powers in the 80s WWF of Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. And I think, well, one of them has to be Miss Elizabeth, I suppose, but we don't want to, assume genders and things.
That could be Ryan.
Yes. So guys, thanks for listening. Sorry for it actually didn't really end up being a shortened episode, but it's kind of shorter by standards. So I'm hoping you enjoy Pony, Phil, and I just BSing for about an hour about things that happened this week in the USL, which is normally what we do, but without Ryan's show notes this week. So take care. Hope you guys had a really nice Labor Day weekend, And we'll talk to you soon, all right?